What's up, guys? Welcome to La Pod Gods. I'm the moral compass, Mark Poulton. With me, the main event, Phil McNulty. Phil, how's it going, man?
It's going good, going good. My Spawn figures are in. Been working all day on the office, so I have the Street Fighter arcade back here. So I'm trying to make a Street Fighter shelf for the board game. So when we officially have you and Sean over, we can actually play the damn thing. So living life. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I have a little addition to the man cave as well. I got my Eddie Edwards shirt that I helped design for Impact Wrestling. I got one in. I got this cool frame from Hobby Lobby, shaped like a T-shirt. So it's pretty awesome. I'm going to hang it up later today. But I was super excited to get the shirt in the mail and then to find a frame shaped like a T-shirt.
Moral compass, Mark Poulton, Renaissance man.
So today's a big day for us. You know, we started the first ever Impact Wrestling AEW YouTube show a little less than a year ago. I mean, we had been doing a wrestling show, but I don't think La Pod Gods was born until we started doing exclusively Impact and AEW.
Right, because we tried to get the WWE on there, but then we were just so disappointed and pissed off by what we were watching that we said, you know what, let's just cut them out and take the time, like a legit 45 minutes to an hour, to talk about the two best wrestling programs.
Yeah.
And stop worrying about the one that's on 3 times a week that just kills our love for the sport of kings.
Do you remember when we reviewed the horror show when Rey Mysterio lost his eyeball?
That was the worst. But no, we loved that match. But the pay-per-view sucked. But I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back when it came to WWE. We're just like, all right, we're out.
Yeah. So I want to shout out the chat. We got Joe Sontag in the chat. He says it looks like Sean needs a partner in this equation. Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed our thumbnail, it's me and Phil as the Road Warriors giving the Doomsday device to Sean. Sean's been he turned heel on us, Phil.
First, he goes behind our back and makes a show, and then he wants to drag our names through the mud on that show.
I know. I don't even know if we should even talk about it. Yeah, let's go through the chat first. We got Simple Jack with us. What's up, Simple Jack? Leroy, where the hell is JT? JT doesn't watch wrestling. He's not one of the pod gods. This is false advertisement. Yeah, you know, if you're here for JT, I'm sorry, you'll have to. Is he JT or is he Ross? Is he Ross now?
He's totally Ross, because that's a total Ross thing to do.
So here's the moment. I actually clipped it. This is the moment in time, I think, where Sean snapped and turned heel on us. You know, that we had this fun episode where we were just casting the best friends as different, in different movies. And Sean's favorite TV show happens to be Friends. And he was incensed when the chat basically said he cast himself as Chandler. He sees himself as a Chandler, and the chat was like, "No, Sean, you're a Ross." Here, I'll play it.
Yeah, Sopranos was filmed up by me. Most of the shots. The titty bar was down the block from me. Well, hell no.
So Eddie,
Mark's not funny. What? Yeah, you don't. Yeah. No. Mark.
Hey man, people see us differently.
Apparently these people need glasses.
Eddie finds me hilarious. Just deal with it, man.
I don't know all about that jazz, but yeah, I firmly disagree.
Good work, Eddie. You hurt Sean's feelings. You said he was Ross.
Yeah. We were on a break.
Eddie says this is the exact reason why I say you're Ross.
You know
You
what?
take everything so serious. You analyze everything.
I like to think, and I got feelings.
He's a sensitive man.
Dude, I listen to Boys to Men and I cry. What else do you expect from me?
That's what Ross would say.
Nagi.
There you have it, man. He was done for. Once they said he was Ross, he was at a loss for words. I was going to comment on this, but I just don't want to kick the man when he's down. I was trying to think of like a wrestling equivalent to this. And I was like, oh, is it like the barbershop window when Shawn Michaels threw Marty Jannetty through? I was like, no, because, we're kind of the Shawn Michaels in.
This is more like when Kane threw Zack Ryder in the wheelchair off the stage. And then they're like, okay, that sort of ends that bit.
Yeah, so, Shawn, we love you. Hey, Ross got Rachel at the end, so I mean, if someone said I was Ross, I would take it as a compliment.
I don't think Shawn will ever agree with us.
Leroy says he's not Ross, he's JT. And Friends is so bad. Hey, it's Shawn's favorite show. Friends is like the X-Men of sitcoms. You know what? We're both wearing our X-Men shirts today. I got my classic 90s X-Men shirt on.
Oh, yeah. I got my special edition Gambit X-Men shirt.
Nice. Johnny Cage says the crowd treating JT like babyface Roman Reigns. Yeah. You don't want to be treated like that. That's brutal.
So let's do a casting real quick. So for those who watch the Pod Gods and don't watch the Best Friend Show, which is probably nobody because it's the same audience, but we have to split the three of us as the Shield. Who are we? So Shawn is obviously Roman Reigns.
Yeah, no, this was like one of the very first thumbnails to the Best Friend Show. You're the architect, Phil. You're Seth Rollins.
And that would make you Dean Ambrose.
Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think it's a darn good one.
Leroy says he's not acknowledging me as the moral compass until I read The Long Halloween. What do you think, Phil? Should I read it? Is it any good?
Yeah, it's probably the second best Batman story ever behind Hush.
Yeah. So that's Tim Sale artwork, right?
Yes.
It's not as good as his Deathblow artwork, though, is it?
You know what? I remember I met Tim at a Comic-Con a few years ago, like when I was a teenager. So before I got into college, and I asked him, like, what advice do you have for me, like, as a comic book artist? And he pulled out his Long Halloween, and then he said, you know what? He says, I'm a crap artist, is what he said to me. I'm like, thank you, you're Tim Sale. He's like, you know what? I'm a crap artist. He's like, look at my Batman compared to Lee's Batman, right? He says, but where no one is going to beat me is my storytelling. And that's where I make my money. He says, so you want to make it in comics, be a good storyteller. And it's truly a masterpiece in storytelling.
All right, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe. Leroy, come on. You're not going to stop calling me the moral compass. But maybe I shouldn't take that chance. So Impact Wrestling, big day today. They have their Rebellion pay-per-view. This was the go-home show. We start off hot. The Good Brothers are taking on Decay, Crazy Steve, Black Taurus. This is, just a little program for the Good Brothers to do while Finjuice is off in Japan. Bringing some prestige to these tag team titles, defending them all over the world. So, Good Brothers get the win. No surprise there. Magic Killer 1, 2, 3. Thoughts?
Is there anyone who's more like, I can never get like a true like finger on the pulse of Decay, because they come out looking like stars. The lights go on and they look like jobbers. They're treated like jobbers, except for matches like this where they're supposed to actually be competitive. I can't ever get like my finger on the pulse of what they're supposed to be at this point. Because it looks like Crazy Steve is changing his gimmick to be a bit darker. So until we get some more storytelling, I often feel like the decay matches take a little bit too long.
They got the best, probably one of the best entrances in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the best theme music, I think. That Marilyn Manson song was awesome.
Yeah, Rosemary really is like, I hate to say it, she's too good to be tied to Black Taurus and Crazy Steve.
Black Taurus has an action figure coming out this year. Part of the Lucha Libre line that Super 7's doing. Looks pretty awesome, man. He's got a great look.
God, hell is freezing over.
Leroy says, preach, Phil, when you're talking about Long Halloween. Leroy says, who's the oiliest wrestler this week? That's a good question. Maybe as we go through it, well, something will spring to mind, but not off the top of my head, I don't have anything that stands out.
I do.
So,
he's
okay.
on in AEW this week. So,
Okay.
Leroy, there's a wrestler by the name of Trent, and he's part of this team called the Best Friends, but he's one of the few wrestlers where his chest is all hairy, and you can see the oil all bounce off all the strands of hair on his chest. And each time he's on my screen, I'm like, man, he's got to rub that oil in, bro.
All right, match number 2. Susan with Deonna Purrazzo with her takes on Tennille Dashwood, who somehow is the number 1 contender for the Knockouts championship. Phil, I just found this out the other day. Do you know Susan is the wife of Rich Swann?
Are you kidding me? Remember, hold on. Remember a few years ago when Rich Swann was like released from the WWE for like apparently like hitting his wife? So his wife is Susan?
Yeah.
Man, what has happened? Like, what has Rich Swann done to deserve all this great hotness in his life? He's champion. He's got a babe. Like, what's he doing?
I wonder if that's when like Su Young's personality splits just started.
He smacked it out of her. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke.
Terrible joke. But Leroy's dead after your oily wrestler comment. I don't think Leroy was being serious, wanting to know who the oiliest wrestler was. That's a bit of a tongue twister. So Tennille Dashwood, number 1 contender. She's got Caleb with a K with her. She gets the victory. She's going into the pay-per-view hot. She doesn't stand a chance against Deonna Purrazzo, does she?
Crazier things have happened. In fact, for some reason, I just see her winning this title. For some reason, I see her winning this title. Because
you're scaring me, Phil.
They add... What has she done? What has Tennille done besides really just crap the bed every time she's on television, and somehow she gets rewarded for it?
You make a lot of sense. Oh, so Amanda B wants to hear that description again. Can you describe Trent's chest?
So Trent has a hairy chest, and when he puts that oil on, you can see it through the individual strands of hair. He's got to rub that in because otherwise it's just going to glisten like it does.
Maybe as I talk about this next segment, you can find a picture of Trent so we can share with the audience. Yes. All right, so next up we have a backstage segment, and my notes just closed. That's not good. Here we go. So we have Brian Myers, backstage segment, awesome segment. He says he's not stuck in the past. He can see clearly now. That's a little riff on Edge's theme music. If you pick that up, Phil. Brian Myers, Matt Cardona used to be the Edgeheads that would come out with Edge during the La Familia days. But anyway, he rips the eye patch off. His vision, 100%. He's looking to take on Cardona at the pay-per-view. This guy's ready. He's ready to take that next step to the main event. He needs to finish off Matt Cardona, who at one point was my favorite wrestler. Now I like I like Brian Myers more than Cardona. I feel like he's the star. He's the better promo. I think he's better in ring, and he's just been fire since he joined Impact Wrestling.
Brian Myers is one of those guys who is just so good at what he does like you can't help but want to root for him because he really just does it for the love of professional wrestling. Like even when he was let go by the WWE the first time around, he was like, you know what? I'll go to work with it. Going to work with it. Remember, he was supposed to be a stripper with that one guy. I forget who it was, but he's supposed to be like in a stripping gimmick. So he was doing anything just to be in professional wrestling. And this is just like the ultimate for him to actually beat the guy who he's played second fiddle to his whole career. That would just be amazing on a personal level for him.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot about that. Him and Tyler Rex, they were getting a little bit of steam on I forget. I think it was part of Raw under like John Laurinaitis. They were like his, you know, I wouldn't say heaters, but he was behind him. And then they got this stripper gimmick, and they started appearing on TV every week. And then Tyler Rex left. He quit. He decided he wanted to. He missed his family. He wanted to spend more time with his family, and there went. Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers push, and pretty much like that was the end for him for his first run. Did you know Tyler Rex is now a woman?
I saw that a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Man," but he's still married to. Anyway, it just confused me, but I was just shocked. I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, bud, you do
yes,
you."
yeah. It took me completely by surprise, but hey, man, whatever makes you happy. Leroy's not happy with Amanda for asking to hear about Trent's chest again. But I mean, Leroy is the first person to ask about who the oiliest wrestler was.
That's true. I mean, you can't.
Now he's playing. Say no, he wasn't serious, but I don't know. What's more fake, wrestling or Phillies baseball? They're not doing very well today, but before then they were 500, which puts them atop the NL East. That a division that everyone was saying was going to be so stacked. It's everyone's not doing that great. I'm still waiting for my guy Mickey Moniak to start showing the world what he can do. I had high hopes for him. He Phil, in 20 at bats, I think he struck out 11 times. That's not going to get the job done in center
That
field.
that doesn't seem to be a good strikeout to
No,
at
no,
that ratio.
he had such a great spring. I was happy with him spending another year in minor leagues just for some seasoning, and then being the starting center fielder this year. I think he got thrown into the fire a little too soon, but he has shown glimpses of greatness. He made an incredible catch the other day, hit his first home run. Oh, so here, Phil, we're gonna add Trent's chest to the stream. There we go. So this is Trent right here, guys. I don't know if you can see my. He's on the.
He's the one with the chest hair.
Yeah,
Let's just say it.
The one with the headband. Yep.
The one where you can see the oil glisten off his chest hair.
How about I don't want to jump the gun, but how about Alex seconding?
Abrahantes?
Yeah, with Penta. He's fantastic.
He has been such a revelation for AEW. Like he was just a terrible backstage, like interviewer, and he's really taken that personality that he was kind of like suppressed just to be this guy's number like wingman. It's because I love when he goes Penta says, because it's almost like a PBS sort of like
Yeah.
skit.
No, he's fantastic. He's got a ton of personality in this role. Johnny Cage says if you're working under Laurinaitis, you should probably find a better job. Yeah, it drove Tyler Rex out of the business. He missed his family. Leroy says kick Phil. Amanda, I think is liking what she's seeing with Trent. She likes that 12 pack too. And Johnny Cage says, "Good Lord." So
we take our wrestling seriously here on the Pod Gods.
Yeah, I mean, we're analyzing oily wrestlers, the oil to chest hair ratio. Got to really rub that in, make it work. We got another backstage segment. Sami Callihan and Trey Miguel. They have a match coming up at the pay-per-view. I really like. I don't know if I'm looking forward to this match, but I kind of like the Sami Callihan influence on Trey Miguel. I like him become more serious. He doesn't do this anymore, Phil. He doesn't do the little.
We're making steps with Trey Miguel. We're taking the
Yeah.
baby steps. This is, like I said, like last week. This has been a really good program for Sami Callihan. This is the most I've cared about Sami Callihan in a while, and he's the only one that could really do this type of storyline.
Yeah, so going into we're going to cover Rebellion later. Well, we'll give our picks later, so we'll shelf that talk for a little while. Match number 3: Mahabali Shira versus Jake Something. Jake Something. So Jake Something was someone they were pushing. Like it seemed like they had something. Big. Yeah. No, he isn't something. They got nothing for him. He's Jake Nothing because that was the guy they were pushing. Like they made him seem like he was going to be a big deal when they put him in that main event against Moose. And I was like, oh, we got something here. We got Jake Something. But no, now he's losing to Mahabali Shira.
This is mind-boggling. This is when people shit on Impact. This is the reason why they shit on Impact. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking a guy who people like, and it wasn't like really planned. Like, you saw like when he fought Moose, like the lights came on, they gave him a special entrance, like the strobes hit him just right. People were, wrestling fans were going, who's this Jake Something guy? Like, they were legit interested in there. You'd think they'd bring him in to just give him a couple squash matches instead of being the one being squashed by wrestlers. This is just bad booking all around. There's something that someone caused a couple buzz on Twitter. You got to roll with that nowadays in wrestling.
Yeah, no, it seemed like Jake Something was primed for big things, and like to lose to Mahabali Shira. Is there maybe a worse thing on Impact? Maybe losing to Reno Scum,
losing to Roy Heat.
Oh, there you go. Next up, Rich Swann comes to the ring. He's talking about the pay-per-view. We got Callis and Kenny Omega on the screen, but the big thing, the return of Moose. I was surprised by this. I wasn't even sure if we were going to ever see Moose again in Impact.
This is, I think, reassuring us that he re-signed with Impact. Honestly, that's probably one of my best quotes of the podcast because when it comes to wrestling, you have to take account of these things, Leroy. But I think this is reassurance that Moose did re-sign with Impact, and I think he's gonna basically put Rich Swann through hell when he loses tonight against Kenny Omega. This is gonna be a fun storyline, and this may actually heat up Moose to take the belt away from Kenny. If there's two people I want to see, it's either Eddie Edwards or it is Moose who takes the strap from Kenny.
Or a returning Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Match number 4, Kiera Hogan versus Jordan Grace. They have Fire and Flavor defending the tag titles tonight against Jordan Grace and a mystery teammate. We find out who the teammate is in this match. Jordan Grace gets the victory, but she gets beat down afterwards. Who comes to her aid? Rachel Ellering. Not the biggest surprise, but not a bad addition to the women's division.
I was thinking to myself, who is this person coming out? Because the music I didn't recognize, and I saw Rachel Ellering on the Titantron. I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. Man, when she was just lining those girls up and just putting them to the mat, that was great stuff. And it makes you realize the WWE clearly has no clue on what they're doing, even with the young talent, because apparently she was one of their recent cuts a little bit ago when they sort of cleared the roster. What are they doing? And it just shows you that Impact knows what they're doing with their women's division outside the title picture.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she fits their definition of what a female wrestler should be.
Diva.
Yeah, diva. Leroy says her strobe light game isn't strong enough.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Her strobe light game was not strong enough.
All right, main event time. We got Eric Young, EY, who's wrestling this match with a torn ACL. He completed the whole recent tapings with a completely torn ACL. He didn't even realize it was torn until after the fact. But he wrestles Eddie Edwards. This is a big matchup. Two main guys in Impact. Eddie Edwards gets no love though. He takes the L. This guy should be in the main event picture with Kenny Omega. Instead, he's in this. I guess it's like the Impact Originals against Violent by Design, and he takes the loss.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because is Eric Young going to even wrestle tonight? Because this is a live pay-per-view.
You know what? I bet EY, rubs some dirt on it, tapes it up, and I bet he wrestles tonight.
I agree. I don't think he just loves it so much that I think after tonight he'll probably get the surgery and be out. But still, I'm all for it.
Johnny Cage says, did you guys hear about Mickie James' trash bag? Yeah, this is awful. So Mickie James was part of the recent releases by WWE. I guess, since they're performing every week at the same place, they must just leave their gear there or whatever. But she had her belongings returned to her in a trash bag. Apparently all the releases did.
And apparently this isn't even a new thing because Gail Kim came out and said that she had her stuff sent in a trash bag as well when she was released years ago. And it was the guy who was responsible was Mark Carano. And you saw him all on Total Divas and everyone was like just kissing his ass. No wonder, because if you screw the guy, your shit's going to be sent back in a trash bag.
So Mark Carano apparently fired. Triple H tweeted out that how shocked they were about this and that the person responsible no longer works for WWE. So Mark Carano gone from WWE. They released some other backstage people, including John Cone, who was a referee and part of talent relations. But then they reconsidered and they brought John Cone back. I'm not sure if he still works behind the scenes, but he's definitely still a referee, I believe.
Yeah, they just have no clue what the hell they're doing over there. That ship deserves to sink every week. Every week.
Did you see Stephanie's tweet to Mickie James? Just so it's like, I'm so embarrassed. This isn't how a legend like yourself should be treated. And Mickie James, I forget her response, but it was like, I'm in total agreement, but something like, real smart ass back to her.
She's like, I totally agree, especially with my last run or something like that.
Oh yeah. So that's Impact Wrestling, the Go Home show. What'd you think as far as a Go Home show? They highlighted pretty much every match they needed to.
It made me realize I wish AEW had the same sort of like urgency that Dynamite, that Impact puts on every week. You know what I mean? Like watching, because there's been no mention of Kenny Omega wrestling at this pay-per-view at all on Dynamite. The first time it was mentioned was literally this past episode, and it was just kind of like a throwaway line. And you could tell like one product is hungry, and you'd think trying to keep 1 million viewers, which is huge for AEW. They're the only wrestling company outside of the WWE in the past 20 plus years to have back-to-back 1 million viewer episodes. So you'd think they would try to keep putting more urgency on the product.
Yeah, you know what this is like? This is like back in the early Image days when you would have like Wildcats appear in Youngblood, but it wouldn't be acknowledged in Wildcats.
Yes.
You have AEW not even acknowledging that this is happening, and it's been happening for, I don't know, almost what, 4 or 5 months?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They do have the Good Brothers making appearances, but they never have mentioned Rich Swann or Kenny, going for the Impact World title.
And you would think, we'll get to this. Let's just jump into it because, AEW, right, opened up with Hangman Page versus Ricky Starks. Again, they're saying, Hangman Page, number one wrestler in AEW, number one wrestler. But when Ricky Starks came out, did you not think that this guy is the star?
Oh, he looked great with his fringe, doing like the cowboy two guns. Yeah, he's a star, man. This is like a preview of the future of AEW with Hangman and Ricky Starks. They're two of the top guys, I think.
This was a really good opener, and I enjoyed Hook coming in with the chop. Like it's been pretty darn good stuff. From the one thing I didn't really like was if they're trying to turn Brian Cage face, why would he come out just to seem like you're out to cut at the knees? Are they just, is this a typical AEW just drop a storyline in the middle of it, or we just need him to kind of fill a role until we get back to it?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's more of that. But yeah, I noticed him come out and he was like, pointing at Dark Order, saying, hey, you guys like to, out, you have the numbers in your advantage, and that's when you take advantage of our guys. So we'll see. Christian Cage wasn't on this week, was he?
Yeah, he wrestle Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so kind of weird that Cage wasn't involved in that. We'll get into the Powerhouse Hobbs match though. I want to talk about that.
And legit, Ricky Starks did hurt his ankle in that match. And that's why apparently I was reading the other day that they called that submission on the fly, and they didn't want him to run out for Hobbs, but he wanted to, and that's why he was legit hobbling, running out on that ankle. So kudos to Ricky Starks. The dude is awesome.
We've been singing his praises since he. We didn't care for the debut when he challenged for the TNT title against Cody. We didn't think it was much of a surprise, but once he became a member of Team Taz, our opinions of him changed 100%. We've been Team Ricky Starks ever since.
It's just time to blow up Team Taz, isn't it?
Or
at least just keep Hobbs and Hook.
Maybe Ricky Starks is too big for Team Taz. Eddie Winkler's joining us. Eddie says, hey, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. I'm here listening while driving. Can't chat. Thanks for joining us, Eddie.
So next up on AEW, we had the sit-down interview with Jim Ross and the Pinnacle. Good promo work, especially by Wardlow.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I really liked when MJF gave Wardlow a chance to talk, and Wardlow, commented on Jericho's promo and said, great promo, but the only time you stuttered is when my name was in your mouth. So yeah, that's great. Great little piece of business by Wardlow.
I'm kind of getting. This is what kind of frustrated me with AEW is that over the past couple months, I guess we've gotten spoiled of when they're pushing feuds. It's not been like they release an interview, another one goes to the ring, they get interviewed, another one goes to the ring. Like they've had some actually really good segments to build it up, whether it be like the Flim Flam, right, or the fact that they had their challenges at home. Like they actually made it entertaining. And when I think this is doing a disservice to MJF, the more he just sits down and talks, because it's almost getting repetitive. And I think that's why Wardlow just stuck out, because we don't get to hear from him often. It's like we said, he is the star of the group.
Yeah, it's funny. Out of everyone in that group who got an opportunity to talk, it was Wardlow. Just because Spears, FTR, they didn't say anything during that, did they?
No, it's gotten to the point where I was thinking during the sit-down interview, I was thinking, you know what? They really do lose a lot when Tully's not there.
Yeah. Guy from Red Bank is with us. What's up? He says, hey, yo. And Leroy says, why are you doing the Macarena, Phil?
It's part of, as I've realized, Leroy, as a teacher, my hand gestures have gotten crazy.
What do we got next, Phil?
So next up, we have Hikaru Shida versus Ty Conte, in which Shida wins the match, and then Britt Baker comes out to update us all on the rankings that she is #1 contender, and then just leaves.
I really like this match. I thought, I think over like the last couple months, Ty Conti's become really good worker in the ring.
No, I really enjoy her stuff. I hope they break her away from the Dark Order. She doesn't need it. But I think Anna Jay's hurt, so
Yeah.
so she's kind of the Dark Order is really just taking some losses, unfortunately, out of their control. That I'm hoping that we get a little bit more of the Hangman stuff, which was up earlier in the show because they made the save.
Did you see the 1 week in Being the Elite where Ty Conti was just sitting in Anna's spot, and everyone was like, she's always been there, except for Stu Grayson. He was like, where'd she come from?
So next up, we had another promo. Was the Inner Circle responds? Your thoughts?
I would say I thought Santana was really good in this promo.
Yeah, it to me, face Jericho can only go so far. You know what I mean? This comes from the biggest Jericho mark on the planet. What I love about him is that he's always changing it up. But when he turns face, his promos change. And I've always liked about him earlier in his career when his promos stayed the same. It just changed on who he was targeting. And this feels almost like a classic Y2J, almost pineapple, like it doesn't feel like it worked for me as it would have years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
hear you.
I think he's evolved more to it. But here we go. Next match, your favorite wrestler on the roster, QT Marshall versus Billy Gunn, in which QT and the Factory pick up the win due to distraction. What are your thoughts?
I'm loving QT Marshall. This is someone who I have I've done a complete 180 on this guy. This guy, I love his heel turn. He was just, I don't know. I like him being the leader of the Factory. And this Nick Camaroto guy,
Yeah.
there's something there.
The only one who stands out like a sore thumb is that Ogogo. His punches, they got to change that, dude. They got to change that punch. It is just terrible.
He laid out Billy Gunn with that gut punch.
Here's the thing. All jokes aside, I mean this seriously. Billy Gunn should never wrestle other people in the ring because to be his age and to look that good in physical shape, doesn't it make you think, what the hell are the others doing?
Yeah, no, Billy Gunn looks incredible. Johnny Cage says he misses Jericho's list.
I agree. So next up, we have Christian Cage versus Powerhouse Hobbs, in which Christian gets out of Hobbs' grasp, and he puts a kill switch on Powerhouse Hobbs to get the victory.
Hobbs looked great in this match.
This is a really good match. I think, I was thinking, man, Christian this is a really good signing for them because he's training these guys in the ring on live TV, and it's just amazing to see. And I cannot wait because they already are teasing the Ricky Starks Christian Cage match, and that match is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, what we're gonna get, I think, eventually is Starks and Hobb versus Cage and Cage, the Cage brothers, Christian and Brian, and that would be the best thing. Have Christian work with Hobbs. Hobbs looked fantastic in this match, and I don't think it was a coincidence, that it was because he was working with Christian. Yeah. Get Hook involved too. Get him some seasoning under his belt.
Some reps.
Yeah.
So main event time. we have the TNT Championship match, Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. Man, every time I watch these Darby Allin matches, I'm super impressed with his opponent.
Yeah, no, Jungle Boy was fantastic. We're saying this a lot with this episode. A lot of people, I think, shine this episode. Jungle Boy was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we are remiss, and we skipped. I skipped the one segment on purpose with the Elite Moxley stuff to get into our Rebellion talk. But man, Jungle Boy, when he was getting frustrated and just throwing those punches on Darby, it made me think Christmas Story when Ralphie was beating up the bully and he was just pounding on him. I thought Jungle Boy was absolutely fantastic. The more I see Jungle Boy, the more you're just like, the AEW is stacked for their future. Just absolutely stacked.
No, this whole episode, Hangman, Starks, Hobbs, Darby, Jungle Boy, Wardlow, MJF. The future looks bright for AEW.
It really does. Ty Conte.
Yeah.
Like, and even, I gotta say, even though Trent's been around forever, I sometimes forget how good of a wrestler he is, because him and Penta put on a heck of a match.
Sounds like a law office.
Except for Jungle Boy. We don't put an Esquire on the end of his name. So one of the big segments of AEW was the Elite getting their own bus. The Bucks officially, I guess, almost cementing their heel turn with their promos, saying the reason why they're so popular is they're the ones who put the shirts in the stores. And then Moxley and Kingston come in. They ram a car into the trailer, start bashing the windows with a bat. Fun stuff.
How about that outfit by Nick Jackson? If he's not a heel now, that outfit definitely made him one.
It reminds me of when Kenny turned heel a couple months ago, and he showed up with Callis with the short shorts and the buttoned up shirt and like the loafers but no socks. I think that's the official look of heels is the loafers and no socks.
Hicks Villain, thanks for joining us. He says Luchasaurus and Sting going at it as the two oldest guys on the active roster. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. That Sting went after Luchasaurus.
I don't know what they're doing, but I was gonna say I don't know what they're doing with Sting. They need Miro to put Sting out for a little bit. Did you catch that Miro promo during the show?
No, I think I actually missed it.
Oh, he put on a promo where he basically threw Kip under the bus, saying, I don't know why I'm paired up with Kip, right? And he's out of action, so he was bringing me down. Because then I'm in an arcade match with Orange Cassidy, who's not on my level, and he's bringing me down. And he basically says, I don't care if you've got a trash Impact mouth running the show for you. And they show Kenny Omega. And he says, I don't care if you're emo face painting dad, right? And they showed Sting and Darby. He's like, if you got gold, I'm coming for it. He goes, I'm tired. He says, I left the last place for a reason. He goes, and it's time I get back to that reason. And it made me think, if we had to go through all that shit with Miro to get to this point, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, no, the whole best man thing was terrible. The one connection is that they're both streamers, video game streamers. No, we don't need that in our wrestling.
Listen, the one thing I wish AEW did more was have some more segments like that instead of and I don't know, it's because they're building up the blood and guts that I get it, but the Inner Circle every week, it's the same. It feels like the same promo. The Pinnacle giving up the same promo. They got to hope that 2-hour match that it's going to be pays off for them, because they announced this last episode that Blood and Guts is going to be 2 straight hours just a one-match show coming up. Risky business.
Yeah, no, sign me up for it. If Jericho's involved, I think it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
We got guy from Redback. He has no idea what's going on. Now he realizes we're talking about wrestling. Yeah, La Pod Gods is a wrestling show. Guy from Redback. Thanks for joining us, man. Are you ready to talk a little Rebellion?
Let's do it. Let's get it out for tonight.
All right, I'm going to go through the card. Let's give our predictions. Impact Knockouts Championship match. The champion, Deonna Purrazzo, defends against number one contender, Tenille Dashwood. Prediction?
Tenille.
I'm going to go with Deonna. Hicks Villain says AEW has a bunch of hidden monsters. Archer, Miro, that caveman dude in the factory, Wardlow, unleash the monsters.
Yeah, I'm ready for that too, Hicks Villain.
All right. Impact World Tag Team Championship. Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson defend the titles against the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. I'm thinking the Good Brothers bring back their belts. Everyone in the Elite will have gold then.
Yep. It was a nice little way to get sort of more eyes on the product from Japan. Because I think if they say, Kenny Omega's going to wrestle on here, you guys remember Kenny Omega, right? You remember the Bullet Club. And I think it'll get more views because of that. So thank you, Finn Juice, for your service. It's time for the Good Brothers to get their belts back.
Impact X Division Championship. Champion Ace Austin defends against Josh Alexander and TJP in a three-way match. Who do you got?
Ace Austin.
Yeah, I think Ace is going to retain too. If anyone takes the title from him, it would be Josh Alexander. But I don't see that happening, at least not yet.
No, and of course I don't think TJP as well. So we lost Primetime, so I'll try to hold out as best as I can. He had the notes up for this one, so I'll try to get it. So I see Johnny Cage.
I'm back.
There you go. I was going to shout out Johnny Cage's comment.
Johnny Cage says, blood and guts will have so much blading. Gillette stock will go up 150%. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a mess, literally.
All right, where were we? We're at Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. Fire and Flavor defend against Jordan Grace and her new teammate Rachel Ellering. I'm calling for new champions, Phil.
No, this is another chance that they can steamroll over Jordan Grace. So this is Fire and Flavor, and Jordan Grace is going to eat the pin because Rachel Ellering is going to do something, whether it be accidentally bump into her or a heel turn. I don't know what it is, but I just know that Jordan Grace is getting pinned.
All right. Matt Cardona versus Brian Myers, 18 years in the making. Brian Myers has to win this match.
Yes, he wins. I will go even further out and say he wins clean.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Last man standing match, Trey Miguel versus Sami Callihan. I'm going with Trey Miguel.
I'm going with Sami Callihan. I think there's more of a story to Trey Miguel losing than there is him winning, because I don't see a next feud for him. So I think this is I think this Rebellion is a pay-per-view that's going to end a lot of feuds, and I think this is going to be the one feud that actually continues on past this point.
8-man tag team match, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, James Storm, and Willie Mack versus Violent by Design, Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino. Now, we already said EY has a torn ACL. He's going to probably, tape it up and wrestle tonight. But I would think that their Violent by Design is going to take the loss tonight. And EY he might still be on screen as the voice of Violent by Design, but I don't see him wrestling for a while.
This is probably the toughest match to call, because do they do the classic WWE, the you lose on the go home show, so you win on the pay?
Yeah.
But I don't think they for some reason have faith in Eddie Edwards the way the old management did. So I'm gonna say Violent by Design picks up this win.
Does EY just work throughout the whole injury?
No, I think EY probably he probably doesn't get the pin, but I think he'll sell the ACL. Like I think he'll get hurt. I'm gonna say Joe Doring comes in and he pins James Storm because I think that's how they're. Oh, new cowboy beats old cowboy in this
Yeah.
match.
Leroy says at least he didn't snap his leg in half throwing a kick. Oh, that was brutal. Did you see this, Phil, at the UFC last night?
I saw gifs of it this morning and said, "Holy
Oh,
shit!"
yeah. When he gets that rubber leg, ugh.
Ooh. I watched Dak Prescott have that happen earlier in the year. I hate those videos, but I can't stop watching them.
Hicks Villain says, R.I.P. Weedman's leg. Yeah, that didn't look good. All right, main event time. Title versus title. Rich Swann defends the Impact World title. I guess he defends the TNA World title too against Kenny Omega, who's defending the AEW World title. I think everyone has the same pick for this match. Everyone except the people they interviewed on Impact Wrestling this week that were throwing their support behind Rich Swann.
Listen, you guys can clip this and you can retweet this and put this everywhere. I will buy everyone who's in the chat right now. Hicks Villain, Leroy, Johnny Cage, Guy from Red Bank, Eddie Winkler. I will buy you all, Amanda B. I will buy you all the new McDonald's chicken sandwich. Personally, have it. I will use DoorDash, get a McDelivery to your house if Rich Swann wins this match, because there is no chance in hell that Rich Swann wins this match. And I think the only reason why they brought Moose's title back because he was only carrying the one, right? So this is the first week we've seen both titles because they just simply want to have Kenny Omega with more belts on him. Even the one that wasn't on the show for the past couple weeks, so they'll throw on top of him just to have that sort of Kurt Angle image.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Kenny Omega too. Leroy's loving it. Yeah, so everyone in the chat, if by some miracle Rich Swann wins, Phil has promised you the new chicken sandwich. Eddie Winkler says he'll take fries with that.
Part of the main event, Misfits. You got it. If he wins, Eddie, you got the combo coming your way.
Rich Swann was on Talk is Jericho this week. Did you listen?
No, I haven't yet, but I'll probably get to it. Probably get to it sometime tomorrow during my work break.
Hicks Villain says you don't sound confident. Toss nuggets into the deal.
Hicks Villain, I'll toss nuggets in there for you as well. If Rich Swann wins, I'll throw in a 10-piece for you.
So there you have it. There's the card. This sounds like a great pay-per-view. There's not really like a throwaway match on the card, I don't think.
Rebellion has become their second best the Slammiversary, if not better than that one. You know what I mean? Like, Rebellion seems like the one where they put a lot more effort into it. It's almost like I think I have better memories of SummerSlam than I do WrestleMania, because SummerSlam's always the pay-per-view where they don't worry about the glitz and the glamour. It's the pay-per-view that brings everything to a head. And I think that's what Rebellion is for Impact. So it's going to be a dynamite, part of the pun, pay-per-view for Impact tonight.
Yeah, and I think Slammiversary this year is going to be another good show, especially with the 90 days for all the recently released WWE stars. That 90 days is up before Slammiversary. So last year's Slammiversary was a who's who of people released showing up. I think we're going to get it again this year. Eddie Winkler says, just kidding, no chance. He doesn't think he's getting that chicken sandwich. And Leroy, he wants to know, is there any way you would do a sketch of pull-out pigeon. So over on Michael Bancroft's, I guess it's Bancroft's live stream, this originated with they made up a character called AR Orangutan, something like that. It's an orangutan with a machine gun.
Okay.
And they I guess they started creating supporting cast for him, and one of the members is Pull Out Pigeon.
You know what? I'll put it up on my Etsy shop. If you want to commission me for the sketch, Leroy, I'm not above whatever money it is to draw this. Does he have a look already, or is it like I'd have to create it off the top of my head?
I think there may have been some Pull Out Pigeon fan art. I'm not sure. But hit him up, Leroy. Everyone has a price, and so does the main event. So that'll do it this week for Pod Gods. Phil, where can people find you? I got your Etsy link in the description. So anyone want to support Phil, just click the link. Also, if you want to support me, I got a Sea Dog and Codename Killswitch. I'm going to just show that real quick because we've had a lot of activity today on the campaign. We are only, last time I checked, we were $41 away from hitting 25 grand. Let's refresh it, see if we hit that. No, still $41. But get your Dan Fraga variant cover. We announced we're closing the store May 15th, so there's not much time left to secure your copies. But I appreciate everyone who's been supporting the book, retweeting it, and really proud of the book. It looks fantastic. Clint's artwork is amazing.
No, and the amount of backers is honestly the best thing about it. You know what I mean? To see how much, to see of like the 353 purchases, that's 301 different backers. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been great. The last 3 years has been awesome for me. A guy from Red Bank says he backed it. Thank you, guy from Red Bank. And thanks for listening to this wrestling show, even though you had no clue what was going on. So, Phil,
you come for the wrestling, you stay for the oil talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Leroy says, "See, I did a good job getting this show into shilling."
We almost did an episode without it.
He's a pro. All right, Phil, besides Etsy, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram and on as our co-host to Best Friend Show, Sean Aaron, with on the Twitter at Animated Phil as well.
Yeah, and you can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton, hit the notifications, and Amanda B will be back next week for more oil talk. Thanks for watching, guys.